for the introduction and thanks to the Moroccan American Student Association for their prominent efforts toward guiding our community into more academic orientation. Hopefully this today workshop will be helpful and feel free to share with your friends or people who you know may be interested in the subject matter. I'll start by a little bit background about myself. I came in the United States in early 2014, joining my husband. I started going to college as any immigrants in that position would do. I started from Northern Virginia Community College. I spent 2 years and I got my associate degree in engineering. I had an incentive to stay local because my son was just 11 months old. So I couldn't go to Blacksburg, Virginia Tech to be able to continue my education in mechanical engineering at that point. Unfortunately, George Mason did not have the, I think at that point they were just starting their major in mechanical and they were not accredited yet. So I didn't have any choice but to seek an opportunity in the DMV area universities, which were mainly private, like Georgetown and Hopkins and GW. As you all know, the private universities, like their tuition is heavy. So I applied for some scholarships and I was lucky enough to get the area's engineering scholarship, which allowed me to complete my degree which I obtained last year in mechanical and aerospace engineering. Currently, I work as a propulsion engineer at the Space Center of Northrop Grumman located in Sterling, Virginia. For those who may not be aware or familiar with the prop work engineer, as I was not truly just 2 years ago, it's basically propulsion is that act of moving or pushing an object forward. So our job consists of primarily designing propulsion systems. If we're talking about rocket, it's the fire that you see when a rocket escapes Earth. In airplane, we do the pressurization system and we do the entire design of jet engines. Of course, my area of expertise is just in rockets and satellites design. So the propulsion work in space, when there is a spacecraft or a satellite, mainly consists of designing those thrusters that change the satellite or spacecraft's orbits when moving up in space. Some of my academic achievements, I was lucky enough to receive various grants to fund my research. I performed energy efficiency research when I was at GW. In 2019, I was among the first, along with other peers, to receive a NASA grant to start a GW CubeSat in collaboration with the Micropropulsion Nanotechnology Lab, which is expected to launch in 2021. I received other awards like hybrid rocket design competition award in 2018, and some of my other awards was the Brooke Owens Fellowship in 2019. I was selected among 36 females in aerospace from 16 countries to be kind of like a sort of a leader in this industry and try to promote for more diversity in such a restricted discipline. I've had the chance to work on many different programs, like recently the Cygnus spacecraft, which is the spacecraft that takes the scientific equipment to the ISS, which launches every year to twice a year. Participated in various commercial satellite design, and currently I'm a coggy in the team that's currently designing the Lunar Gateway, known as HALO, in collaboration with Blue Origin and Northrop Grumman, which is expected to orbit the moon in 2024, inshallah. So welcome aboard, and we'll try today to touch base on some of the the college funding main topics, like make sure we understand our position based on our legal status, because that is one of the key one of the determinants that's really specify the type of scholarships or grants you are seeking. We'll try to touch base on also the types of available aids and scholarships, understand the difference between the need and the merit-based, where to find them and how to apply, and also understand how to navigate the process, because it is truly a process. Not sure if that will be an interest for some of us today, but I dedicated a couple slides to the graduate funding, and if some of you are interested, we can also provide a point of contacts in that specific matter. And we also gonna touch base on how to navigate the process of pairing a major with a scholarship, because of course there are a lot of scholarships, billions of dollars in funding, and if we understand what we're looking for, it's going to be easy subsequently to get it. And finally, we'll try to open up a Q&A for the audience if they have any specific questions. I'd like to start our workshop by trying to reflect upon the question, why should we go to college? Again, let's not forget my background as an immigrant, and you know, when you come from a foreign country, most likely you can, there is an opportunity to find a job. You don't have to go for 4 or even say more years just doing homework and you know, all of that suffer life. You can land on a job and get maybe a comfortable salary, and everything will go well. But college is more than that. It's I always do not fully agree with people that say go to college because you earn more money. No, it's definitely more than that. And I say here one of my favorite quotes by President Barack Obama, just to remind you all that we have to go and vote next upcoming days. So he said once that in a global economy where the most valuable skill you can sell is your knowledge, because exactly knowledge, it becomes like a skill that you can sell. A good education is no longer just a pathway to opportunity, but it is a prerequisite. And that is true, because you can open the door to many opportunities and definitely live a better life. It will help you settle and establish a good family. Of course, when you have a college degree, you'll be a good reference for your kids, and you can be part of their you know, the process when they get there one day and understand what's going on. It's better not to. It's better when you're familiar with the process than not. And for high schoolers, if we have any high schoolers among us today in the audience, college is a lot of fun, and you can allow to the chaos and fun to be there because it is designed and it's allowable. And this last one, which is one of my favorites, which is paving the way for our brothers and sisters to go to college, because when one of us decides to go to college, we indirectly creates that reference for subsequent individuals if they decide to go to college, and specifically when we go to industries and disciplines. Alhamdulillah, I know a lot of Moroccans who are breaking the ceiling in a lot of disciplines, so that's a good thing. And just before we dive in, I just want to remind you all that we are not going to touch base on the federal loans or the college saving accounts known as, it's very common in the United States where parents like create those accounts for their kids. It's a culture in the United States. They create those accounts for kids, and so that when they get to college, they have like some sort of funding available for them to make use of. Today, we're only touching base on the whatever is grants, federal funding, or scholarships. More simply, just free money. And I'd like to remind you all that based on my experience and with many people that I've met and different experiences that I've heard of and a lot of interaction in this specific area, the United States, there are many organizations, like hundreds of organizations who are fighting on a daily basis to promote the idea that started a long time ago. I'm stating here one of the quotes said by John F. Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy, wants that every person should have in the United States an equal opportunity to obtain a higher education, and regardless of his social status or any financial means. So just put in your mind that there are a lot of organizations who are just working to preserve this. And as a result, we have a lot of money available for us, whether your social status allowed to pay for college or not, you can get the higher education you are aiming for. One of the things that I always find people confusing between when we talk about like loans or grants or scholarships is that people, they do not necessarily differentiate that the legal status is really, kind of like determine the type of resources you need to go to find the grants or the free money you're looking for. As you can see, if you're a US citizen, yes, you have access to a federal grants, federal loans, many other scholarships, and even a much larger pool of private lending agencies. The thing is not that much difference when you are a permanent resident, or as they call it, a US person. Also, you have a large access. But that doesn't mean that international students cannot get access to funding, because there are also billions of dollars available for international students, and some of the national most fat scholarships they allow international students to apply for. And I will state some of those upcoming slides, just to make sure we understand that sometimes if we have any international students in the audience, sometimes when you are applying for universities, some of the universities may require you to apply for FAFSA. That doesn't mean you're going to get access to the federal grants, but just to as a mean to determine the need based on your eligibility and how much money they can provide you. And many of the big universities, they have a lot of money available for international, and they may require you to whether do a FAFSA. I've seen like universities requiring international students to do FAFSA application very rarely, but most likely is the CSS profile. And I recently have one of my cousins who is actually in the audience who got a good scholarship just by applying in the CSS profile, because the CSS profile is a tool that actually links many private organizations who puts that money available for students to the universities. So is that a question? I think I'm started having a chatter. Okay, so coming up, we're gonna try to touch base on what types of scholarships are there, and where can we find them, and how also to apply for them, or how to navigate the process. The first concept that I want students to be aware of is the difference between the merit-based and the need-based. Basically, the word need is a key here. Need-based ed refers to the financial need a student has in regards to paying for college. Need-based aid programs focus basically on that aspect. College is expensive, and so need-based aid is a lot abundant out there. One great way to seek out this form of aid is to complete the FAFSA. And here I'm talking about the US persons and the US citizens, or the free application or a federal student aid. So this is a form that's basically just going back to the definition that's used by the federal government to evaluate the need and what sort of aid each student can potentially receive. Most students who file the FAFSA get some sort of aid, and even if they don't, many other sources of aid use the FAFSA form as well, like some private scholarship providers, because they use that as a tool to trigger the amount needed by that students so that they can aware that. The merit scholarship, the merits need, the merits-based funding is basically an award that is given to a student based on an academic achievement, or even outstanding performance. It can be like talents or athletic abilities, that type of things. And both of them are really available, especially for high schoolers. There are other types of scholarships opportunities. So scholarships by grade level. This type of scholarships is basically will target college-bound high schoolers, but many others available for undergrad and grad. So a large pool is for the high schoolers. There are other types of scholarships provided by the states. Some of the states, they may have a focus in certain industries. Let's say Ohio promotes the the industry of tires, cars, tires. So you will find scholarships that are specifically related to that area. And as you know, the United States, they have different industries that tempers each state. So let's say if I'm interested from my own point of view, like mechanical engineering, I would probably go to maybe Ohio or maybe California. So you need to ask about the major that you are trying to study. If I'm studying agriculture, I would better apply for a university in Minnesota. I may get a better funding. Those are questions you can go and address them and to a financial aid officer. They may be of a good resource for you to navigate through this. When I was interested into aerospace engineering, I knew that aerospace is basically linked to the Air Force and basically military resources and funding. So having a university located inside of DC area or the metropolitan was a good win, because you get to meet those people on a daily basis, and you can literally just have access to those type of resources easily. So keep that in mind. Scholarships may vary by state and by the location, and your major may determine the geographic area that you may be at. Also, there are scholarships by type. Those I've seen, some of them, and some of my friends have won those scholarships, but most of the people do not know. Most of the folks, they don't know about those scholarships, because you need to be part of, let's say, a society of Black American kids to know about that type of scholarships available. If you are, let's say, have some medical sort of disability, if you are part of a community that has that as a focus, they can guide you through via their resources, their own resources, toward applying to the right scholarship. Also, there are scholarships based on religious convictions. If you have interest into artistic abilities, some of those agencies can have specific scholarships for that, and so on. So this requires you some sort of digging into those societies in order to know what scholarships are out there. The question, coming back to the question, where do we find scholarships? And of course, it's one of the most common questions that a college student can ask. Where can I find scholarship? How do I know that this scholarship actually exists? And it's one of the most not straightforward answers to give, because it varies by experience. Like personally, the first FAT scholarship that I got, which is the elite, I didn't know. I did not even apply to it. So it was linked or browsed via the CSS profile and matched my profile with the university, and combined other factors that selected me for that scholarship. Other scholarships that I've won, I heard about those via my professors. So usually when you're in college, you can receive some of those emails that most of us as students we disregard. Some of them, they may be beneficial if you are seeking to win a scholarship. So keep an eye on those miscellaneous emails. And of course, one of the biggest resources is a financial aid officer. If you go to your financial aid office and just take an appointment and talk to a financial aid officer and say, hey, I think I would better, I'm seeking a scholarship. Where can I find that, or a type of a grant? They may have things that they don't unfold until you go and ask. For some reason, I don't know, I've never understood this, but when I was at the Nova, Northern Virginia Community College, there was a scholarship which was like worth $49K. And they usually just send you an email. We don't see that email, but if you go the right time, the right moments, to the financial aid office and say, hey, what's some of the types of FAT scholarships you guys have? They can tell you, oh, there is the Jack Kent, for instance, Jack Kent Cook scholarship. You can go ahead and apply. So they're always aware of those. And it's unfortunate that this type of information is not well presented or recorded somewhere in most of the university platforms. They try their best, but you have to keep asking around. Also, check with the local organizations. When I say local organization, there are national societies inside of colleges. Also, there should be conferences that are organized in every university or college. Make use of those. Go there, and sometimes you just meet someone who tells you about a scholarship opportunity that is not publicly or really published. If you are seeking for a scholarship, you need to do some digging and make sure to ask everybody basically you meet about scholarships, especially professionals. I recently was part of a career workshop, and for example, my company provides scholarships for high schoolers, and if you meet someone who working in the company, he can tell you about it, but if you don't, who's going to tell you? So make sure if you go to those career fairs, you just ask around, hey, do you guys have any sort of grants to provide? And especially if you have like a common ground. So make sure to start initiating those discussions. And also there are like many sites. Scholarships.com is very, very, very well known. And I've known a lot of students or friends who've got really good scholarships going up to 15K. And those opportunities were available on that website. When to apply for scholarships? Well, scholarships are offered usually year-round, but there is a specific timeline that we should keep in mind, and that's gonna come in upcoming slide. And the best time to apply, I always say, is now, because that will direct you into using your browser and start looking for scholarships. Because most of the scholarships that I can use next year, their application most likely is going on now. So make sure you start as early as you can. And that depends on which phase you are. If you're a transfer student, most of those scholarships, usually if you're transferring to a four-year institution within the spring, then you need to start applying or seeking scholarships by September. So that puts you like 6 to probably 9 months ahead of the admission decision, things like that. And of course, conduct searches on your browser. And as I mentioned earlier, talk to professionals about scholarships. And this is here, I'm showing just a chart that illustrates the large majority of scholarship deadlines. And as you can see, March, April, and February, those are the months where the deadlines for those scholarships are most likely. And for example, I'm not sure if for the CSS profile, which is not a scholarship, it's just a platform that triggers a lot of scholarship. I think it's 15 February, if I'm not mistaken. It's not on top of my head, but many other scholarships, the latest are by April, but from February to April, those are most of the deadlines. How to navigate the process? This is a very convoluted question, which is, and it takes a lot of inputs. First of all, we need to be organized. Because the process of applying to a scholarship, especially if we are seeking like a large money, like let's say 30K or more, that takes a lot of efforts from us and a lot of dedication, and especially crushing the imposter syndrome, because applying for scholarships most of those organizations in you know, resources, they try to make somehow the applications kind of like tyrant, so that only the the most interested students get it. Because if they make it easy, then anybody can go and apply. But they you know, they can increase the number of essays, the number of prompts, and things like that. And that regardless, that having that, assuming that you have a good GPA or SAT scores, but there are a lot of material that requires effort from you, like personal essays, getting the right or the good recommendation letters, and whether you have any volunteering or community work. And also that should be tempered by the college choices. So first, try to create a list of eligible scholarships. And when I say create a list of eligible scholarships, we cannot, most of the scholarships that, if you go to scholarships.com, we cannot apply to every single scholarships out there. But based on your major, based on your, you know, as I said earlier, like the legal status, things like that. So make sure you go and you read the requirements and you take a list and create a list of what scholarships you can apply to, and then sort them by deadline. Subsequently comes the process of how to start application, or how we start the qual process toward winning those scholarships. I'm going to go more in details later on, but after you locate the scholarship, you need to, of course, apply to these scholarships. And as I mentioned, the scholarships require short essays. Some of them, they can, you know, go in their selection process from semifinalists to finalists. We need to be aware and be kind of like loose on accepting the milestones required by each application or scholarship application. Before we dive into the process, let's keep in mind that if you win a scholarship, sometimes it requires you to make a sort of a follow-up. And I'm more specifically talking about private funded scholarships, a follow-up. So a follow-up can be in various forms, like be in contact with the resource that's providing you that money, or sometimes they requires you, if it's a merit scholarships, they can provide you to keep at least good standing, or some other scholarships. One of them I wanted was to do a sort of related activity, like, you know, rockets design or things like that. So make sure you understand the scholarships you are getting, because a lot of them imposes kind of like restrictions, or some of the conditions that we need to be aware of, and we need to understand. If my scholarships requires me to have like 3.9 GPA, then I need to be aware of this, otherwise I'm losing it. So things like that. Here, just mentioning some of the mechanics of how to apply. Well, of course, this is just for your own record, but fafsa.ed.gov, that's for the federal grants in general. I didn't mean to confuse you between grants and scholarship here, but just stating the website for, especially this workshop will be a reference for high schoolers later on, that will be published on the MASA website. So FAFSA is where we apply for any need-based funds, and that will be required by most of the universities. Also, the CSS profile.collegeboard.org is the tool that triggers scholarships, but also it's kind of like interfering with also the need-based ed, especially for international students. If you have a need-based ed, then you need to go through CSS profile. When we are talking about private universities, if you are, let's say, applying to Harvard or MIT or any other private university, they will definitely ask you to do the CSS profile. CSS profile is not commonly used by state universities. That's because their tuition is not that expensive anyways. How do you apply? Here, I'm just leaving you some of the resources that you can use for scholarships. Those are some that I tried to kind of like, you know, make sure they are prominently used by the students. I've used some of them at some point. I used the Dream Project. I've worked with other student high schoolers on the Golden Door Scholars. So those are really good resources, and I've stated some for also the undocumented students. What is available for graduate students? Here we are moving from the undergrad to grad students, just trying to consolidate in this workshop. Well, grants for grad school are generally linked to the opportunity to, conduct a research in a lab at that university, or if they can award you that for your academic excellence based on the major. It can be a sort of a service commitment. Let's say, I'll give an example. My job offers me a full tuition if I decide to go for a master, not of course a PhD, but just a master, and things like that. So if a graduate students, it's usually they are not that abundant as undergrad funds, but there are a lot of them, and I'm stating some of the resources you can use. Thanks to Saeed this morning for providing some of those for many majors, and some of the good ones that are offered by the Science Foundation, I believe. So keep in mind that graduate school, usually there are not much federal available, but there are a lot of funding available, whether by universities or organizations. And if you seek them, you will find them, because there are so many out there. And also there are also those, talking in STEM majors, there are those available packages for PhD, like if you get your bachelor generally, and you're interested to pursue a grad, education, they can provide you with packages that includes or encompasses a master and a PhD. This offers you basically a stipend. Usually that type of opportunities is available for people interested in academia, not necessarily professional careers, but more likely academia. Those again are choices depending on each person, goal to on what he's interested into doing. Coming to a frequent thought here, which is pairing a major with a scholarship, and I would like to touch base on this specific concept here. Sometimes, especially for students who are just initially starting their college life, everyone want to get the best education, and we're all want to get good scholarships and fast scholarships. But how do we really choose the major that we're interested into, and parallel to that, get a scholarship? Well, it all ties up or comes to answering some sort of questions like, what will give me the best future? This is something that needs to be answered by the students. When I say the best future, not necessarily like the best income, but basically what am I interested at exactly? What is my passion? And what can I do? What am I good at? Things like that. So if I figure out the answer to these questions, that's already a milestone, because subsequently I can start designing or finding the right resources that's gonna, support my education. I'll give you an example. In my case, I knew that I was interested into space in general, rocket design, but I didn't have the money or the required funding that allows me to pay out of my pocket for these. I sat down and I said, what am I good at? What do I have? How can I qualify for most of these opportunities? Well, you start thinking, take a moment, think about what you have, because again, a knowledge, it can be sold, like put it on the table, you can sell it. It took me 2 years to one day before one of my interviews that was conducted by a NASA talent acquisition expert that was selecting for a fellowship. And he basically, I had like a panic before that interview, because I know that I had to get that scholarship to get my foot into the door of a restricted industry, which is aerospace, and especially space and rocket design. And I went to one of, I had like a habit of going and using the university resources, like the Writing Center, available resources to students anyways. And I went there and I had a good GPA, I had a good research file, I had all of the academic inputs that somebody at my position could have. But when I talked to that person from the career fair, I went to him and I just asked him this random question. Hey, I'm really, anxious. I would like to know, I have an interview with a NASA acquisition guy, and he will be selecting me for a determinant opportunity. And that guy, he told me, well, I know you, the best thing you can sell is your background. And I was shocked, like, why he's telling me my background. I have always, like, for me, like looking for positions in the space industry in general, in a very restricted industry, I was telling him, no, I need to talk about my GPA, my research. No, he was telling me, no, it's your background. And at that point, it seems to me that it was a contradiction, but it's not a contradiction, because my background was different. My international background, yes, that may trigger some of the red flag doing some sort of jobs. But if you know who you are and how to use it, like I have a personal background, which is Moroccan, I can use that for a diversity. Most of those scholarships, they are looking for people to tell their, the organization that funds those committees and fellowships. They're telling them, hey, we are getting people who are diverse. Can you get more money? We are breaking the ceiling. We are more diverse. In fact, I was chosen. I remember I was chosen on that opportunity, and it was I was the first Arab Moroccan woman on that list of ladies who were selected. And I remember they praised the fact of selection, of being diverse. So make sure, if you are from that background, don't try to hide it. Most of us come to the United States, especially immigrants, and we try to hide some of that background. Now, sometimes, especially for scholarship, it can be a win. So just know who you are. If you are good at something, like I remember also, like another example, to win the Elliott Scholarship, I remember I wrote my essay and I say I want to design to replace the rocket's engine, the Russian one that's used by the United States. Well, have I ever designed that? That was a silly idea to be written by a student. No, but you show that you have something different. You are seeking, something different. Like, just be that different. How many students who have that international background, kind of like aiming for the same set of goals. So try to use whatever is different. And that requires, again, circling back at this, take a moment, and I'm talking especially for the people who are just starting their college, take a moment to know who you are, because that's really a determinant. And to, again, for the scholarship, it's a very, again, I should mention this, it's a very convoluted process. And we need to keep an eye on future scholarship yielding measures. Let me just have a moment, try to elaborate on this one. It's unfortunate that nowadays we hear that most of the majors that gets a lot of scholarships are the same majors. Well, is that true? Yes, it is true, because the Science Foundation have a lot of money that are trying to attract early, students to choose those majors. But if you are not interested into STEM, and you have done that exercise of sitting down with yourself and knowing who you are and what you want, you can sell it on an essay, on a paper, and stand out among the pool and get the scholarships. Because put in your mind that there are a lot of majors that offer scholarships. Some of them, they are, some of the majors, of course, they have more money than others, but each major should have a set of organization or a private institutions funding them. So just do some digging and some search, knowing what they want. For example, accounting in business. Accounting in business, if I want to get a good scholarship, I would better go to a big university or a very famous university. Let's say, in a university that usually big universities like, I would say George Washington, maybe Harvard, or I don't know, like there are many universities that they have those departments very big. And if you have those departments and you have a lot of alumni who works for banks, know that's their set of scholarships for accounting and business. They may be larger. So let's say, if you're considering either one of these majors, you should select the right school. And this is a big consideration because unlike the STEM field, where the money rolls in from the government in many cases, the big bucks for business comes from institutions like banks, because business majors often go on to successful and lucrative career. Business wants to groom potential employees early on. And this means they're more likely to donate their funds to business heavy schooling, like, schools basically that have business majors heavy, and they have like very famous alumni ads. And for teaching also, while being a teacher doesn't really sound like the most lucrative career, but it can be one of the least expensive majors if you can land some scholarships. So that's also to keep in mind, and it's a consideration to think of. Lastly, I want to touch base on the how to win a scholarship, and I think I mentioned this on multiple attempts on this workshop, but this is just like to unfold this thought in general. Selecting the right scholarship. In selecting the right scholarship, you can use some of the resources like scholarships.com. I'm mentioning two national examples, especially if you are located in the DMV area, which is the Jack Kent Cook. I think it's 47. It was 47 by 2017. I'm not sure how far they've gotten. The Coca-Cola Scholars also is one of the national scholarships. Take your time. Again, know who you are. Get great letters of recommendation. That's also is a key. Whether you are a high schooler or a transfer student, talk to your professors. You don't have to score A+ to establish that interaction with your professors. No, you get to know them on a personal basis. Also, share your struggles, share your life. Some of your life struggles or experiences with them, so they get to know who you are. And again, write a memorable winning essay. And a winning essay, it comes back to that phase of sitting with yourself and recognizing your difference, your background. If you have any struggle, make sure to highlight it. One of my struggles was that I am a mother, so I did my undergrad, and I was also like a responsible mother who's having a child. So I was always full-time and having a kid, with all of the challenges that comes with this. So I recognized that at some point was not a weak thing to have, but if I can know the right format, how to highlight it, I can take it as a good point, see if I'm able to get an A, and my other friend, he's getting A+. So I'm already a mother and I have a kid who's 3 or 4 months old. So just, crush that imposter syndrome and be nice to yourself in order to discover what you can sell. That's the thing. And last, push through it, because the process of applying and hitting that apply button, it can be very frustrating, because we, at that moment when we get there, we tend to procrastinate. Is my application complete? Is it perfect? Especially us Moroccan, like we really, most of us are perfectionists. Like, we really want to make sure that we are, kind, and we are recognizing our efforts, and we are just doing our best. And even if we are not 100% sure about our essay, make sure we are using the right resources. We're going to the writing center, asking our friends to proofread it for us. But, you know, push through it and make sure you just do your best. And after all, you just apply, and yeah, that's basically it. It's not that magic. Of course, I mentioned that a couple of times today. There are a lot of scholarships waiting for us to come and get them, whether we're U.S. Citizens, U.S. persons, or also international. I mentioned this, but this is what they call it. They call it the compelling interest, which is a lot of scholarship programs include the educational benefits of diversity and the need to address the percent effects of institutions on past discriminations. They may give those scholarships just based on your diverse background. This is yeah, you can't get rid of background noise these days, right? Additional resources. So I am stating some of those for the records, especially for people who we will share our presentation with. And that's all for today. Hopefully this was helpful to most of us, and please open up to any questions you may have.
Yeah, thank you so much, Khadija. And thank you guys for joining us again. Now we will start the Q&A session. If you have any questions or any comments, you can just unmute yourself, or you can and then ask, or you can just write down your question in the chat box and I will address them to Khadija.
Sure.
Yes. May I please start? Because I need to leave.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Hey, Khadija.
Hi.
Ça va?
Alhamdulillah, ça va.
Anyways, thank you very much for inviting me today. I'm just an observer. I don't think I'm gonna join college yet, since I have a high schooler and a middle schooler, and that's my job at the moment. But it's still in my dream to join college. I just wanted to actually not undermining this presentation or create problems. I just wanted to share my experience. As you might know, we went to North Virginia Community College together, and I've received a grant, which turns out to be at the end of my graduation. They turned it on to a loan. Now I'm paying that loan, actually, after back and forth with them to the business, the financial ed office, struggling up and down. And then they said, no, since you have a master degree, which you might know, I did mention that on the FAFSA. I spent, as you may know, I was a father too, and I had 2 jobs, as well as the volunteering job at Nova as a math tutor, when we had good time. So I'm saying I'm just wanting to warn some people who they want to go to Nova, and if they have a bachelor or a master, they should not show that on the transcript. I show it. They didn't mention anything on the first year. They didn't mention anything on the second year, because I spent about 4 years in Nova. And when I graduate, then they shoot me a letter that all that grant was supposed to be paid off. Do you have any idea?
I've heard that from you, of course. Actually, Mohammed, we had a good time working together as math tutors in the math lab at North Virginia Community College, I think from 2015 to 2017. He told me this, so I was aware of it. And I also heard from another actually friend who's from Bolivia. He had the same story as you, Mohammed.
Okay.
Basically, I think that it's good for us that we now mention this, so upcoming Moroccan students who are in the same position be at least aware of it. Unfortunately, that's their guidelines. If you have a bachelor degree, you don't have, it's exactly the same as for me now. Like I have a bachelor degree, then I don't have access to a lot of scholarships, basically, because if you have if you have a bachelor degree, you are able to find a job, and you are not in that need of having an equal opportunity to obtain a higher education degree. So based on that rationale, this decision is executed. I am not sure what's available resources you can seek in order to get rid of that restriction. But I think you know me on a personal level, and I don't believe in something called impossible, and I always seek to get myself out of issues and things like that. What I would recommend you, actually, Mohammed, and you can reach me personally, and I would be happy to provide any guidance, is that usually when we have some there are a lot of
issues,
forgiveness programs.
Okay.
Yes, there are a lot of forgiveness programs, and I've had the opportunity to start actually reading about those lately. Just not because I have a large loan. I don't have much loan. I took loan when I was at Nova before I received my scholarship. It's not that much, but I started reading how I can get forgiven from that loan. And I was surprised by the amount of possibilities and opportunities one of us can get rid of the loans and be forgiven. And you can start navigating through those. I mean, I know you're a parent, you have 2 other kids. We're all like immigrants, like, striving here and there to earn, our, and to just, kind of like to live. If you have if we can find a way, again, as I mentioned, I'll be happy to provide any sort of support or assistance. And let's see, hopefully there should be an outlet somewhere out there.
Definitely. I just wanted to point that out. So if somebody is interested in that, so he should hide. So we can play like they do, because if they were, if they were straight and they want to play, they should have just tell me, since I joined Nova in 2010, they should have told me in 2011. Well, the first thing, because I went with those transcripts already evaluated, and I went to the financial aid office, and they helped me the first year to fill up the FAFSA and all that stuff. But they didn't tell me till I finished, when all that grant went up to 25,000. Then I was back and forth with them. It took like, I don't know, it took like 2 years up and down with them, and it accrued the interest, and it became 32,000. I'm not paying that much. It's like $50 a month now, but it's feel like it's heavy still. It's $32,000 on your shoulder. It makes you uncomfortable. But I just wanted to point that out. I thank you so much for the invitation, and it was a great presentation. Thank you very much. And I actually took some notes, and I will
for your kids.
Yeah, for my son.
Thank you.
Actually, yeah, he's gonna start looking too. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Any more questions?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. So I have the same question. Like when I applied to Nova, I told them that I have a bachelor degree, and I didn't get approved for financial aid. So they told me, hey Hafida, you mentioned that you have you have a bachelor degree in Morocco. So bring bachelor degree, do the transcripts, or no, do the translate equivalence, and I did. And they told me, I think they give me 0, like the equivalence here. And now I have financial aid. So now I heard the brother, and I'm scared. Do I have to pay it back, the grant?
But hold on. What I get from your what I get out of your question, you said you did inform them that you have a bachelor, but then you went ahead and you did the equivalence program or process, and then they did not recognize any sort of courses you've taken in Morocco. So they went ahead and give you the opportunity again to have a education or a college degree here. And this is the reason why you got the scholarship, the grants, or the FAFSA, basically the federal grants. So I don't, based on what you said, I don't think that they will ask you to pay back, because this came from a process that your courses are not transferable.
Okay,
Okay. I'm sorry. I might interrupt here. Khadija, that's basically what happened to me. I give them everything. They probably recognize some of my degree, some of my classes that I evaluated, and yeah, they give me the grants. I kept receiving the grants every semester, and in the end, I just wanted her to make sure to dig into it before she got a big amount of money on her shoulder at the end. I just wanted her to not do the same mistake as me. I'm in court basically with them. I'm trying to sue them. I have all the paper that I can, guys, show you that they did know. They did know that I have a master, and they did know that I have a bachelor, because I showed them those papers, and they did know. So basically, it's not they did know, but they tried to trick me, if I might say so. But yeah, they tricked me. They lied to me. So I'm trying to go to, even though I don't have any law knowledge in law, but I'm gonna go to court and I'm gonna try to defend myself as much as I can. The same thing I just said here, I'm gonna say it in court. I just want the lady to make sure.
Understood.
That's
thanks. Yeah, thanks, Mohammed, for your inputs.
Yeah, we have another question from Aya, and she asked you if you have any advice regarding writing essays for scholarships.
Say again. Sorry.
She asked if you have any advice on writing essays for scholarships.
Yes. Definitely, absolutely. Actually, for essays, writing essays to win scholarships, those are the only actually key that probably determines your, I would say 70% of your chance, because the essay is more than a resume we may be providing as part of the application package. The essay is that outlet we can, speak about our personal background, our experience, our unique, of who we are. And make sure when you write an essay, take some time and use, if your English is not that good, make sure you use, I'm not going to say proper English, but make sure you use a very high level of English, and try to write in a way, I'm not going to say emotional, never be emotional, but try to write smart, that when someone reads your essay, you leave that personal, you give like a personal impression. Like an essay has to be vivid. It has to, when I read it, every single sentence and statement of it should keep me reading the paper. If your essay doesn't have that taste, then I'm not going to say that you submit a good essay. I personally, it takes me, I'm usually a good writer. I write good I have some background in writing, but the essay takes me, it's such a painful process that takes me a month, because when I'm writing something, I am definitely thinking of the person reading it. I need to keep him attached. After every single word he's reading, he has to read the next word. And sometimes you can play on the idiomatics, like the language. You can use aesthetic words. And if you have, like, if you're Moroccan, if you studied some French back home, you may have that capability of, because English is such a straightforward language. So use the beautiful and the aesthetic language in your, it's like writing for not a blog, it's like writing and reading a piece of literal essay. So essay dedicates like a lot of, long nights just to reflect and read it and rewrite it and all of that. And make sure you give it to your professors. If you're at college, still at college, like taking English composition, give it to your professors. And if not professors, if you know someone who's good at writing, I'll be glad to provide actually feedback on essays. I've done that in the past. You can feel free to take my contacts and I can do that.
Okay, another question from Ayub. Ayub, do you want to write down your question, or do you want to say it? You can just unmute yourself.
I will speak it. Assalamu alaikum, Khatu Khadija.
Alaikum salam. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I think I have a couple of questions. So first of all, I was thinking of because over the summer, the past summer, it really opened my eyes when I took an invitation to like kind of like an internship program where basically they help you out, career wise. You fill out some modules, like financial decisions, just everything you need to know about like the workforce, I guess, basically. And so we had this portion where we had to make a resume and all, just like kind of like an educational resume, because obviously we don't have any work experience to put in yet, like during 11th grade. Like there was not much, obviously. And so once we finished our resume, then we chose some internships. I got matched with one for like database management. And it was like a 4-week internship because due to COVID, it was supposed to be 2 months. Okay. So just that 4 weeks really opened up my eyes to like, just like the world of internship and like in general. So I was thinking like, if you have like a specific like career, like you already know what career you want to do and you want to get like a little bit of a head start, or, you just want to try it out for yourself for the first time. What would you recommend about like high schoolers trying to do internships, like especially like in the engineering field specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I get your question right, you're in high school, of course, junior, right? Senior, right?
Yeah, currently senior.
Yeah, currently a senior. You're interested in engineering. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So of course, there are a lot of resources available for students in high school interested in engineering. One of the best, if I know that you are interested into aerospace from a past conversation I had with you, there is the NASA pathway fellowship, which takes students from early, starts by high school, and you can apply. You just Google NASA pathway, and you can start those internships. Basically, they give you like a wage. They pay you. It's an paid internship. There are some that are not paid, and there are others that are paid. You can apply to those, and if you get in those, basically you start an intern, and while you're studying your major, specifically if you're going to choose like a technical major, the NASA pathway supports your education, and you can work on it like a part, the amount of hours you can dedicate per based on your schedule or school load, basically. They are available for high schoolers, and it takes from high schooler undergrad all the way. And just when you search, make sure you don't type in internship for high school. You do pathway internship, because pathway internship, it takes the individual or the students from like probably early in college, say high school, to late when we get to the junior, because we start, especially when we talk in engineering, we start acquiring those skills later in our college path. So it takes you from the beginning, and it immerse you into industry level type of experience. Yeah.
Okay, just like a okay. And another question. What was I gonna ask? Oh, so like I know like most internships don't open up until like you start college because you're like more like age of liability, should I say, you're more responsible at that time. But given my situation, I'm a dual enrolled student. So I do college and I do high school.
Mm-hmm.
Could I hypothetically apply for college internships under the assumption that I am technically a college student, or should I not? Because it's like way more involved than like way more rigorous than high school internships would be.
No, it's not that they're way more rigorous. You can apply, absolutely you can apply, because the idea of an internship basically is to get you exposed to the skills primarily seen and used in industry. And I can, especially some of my tasks in my daily job, I can assign them to a high schooler and show him what to do, because of the level of redundancy for those tasks. I can assign the task that I have now to a high schooler and expect the same outputs as probably someone in college. Just make sure when you apply to read the requirements, because again, every single scholar internship, it has requirements. Most of them, they ask you, just because I know that you mentioned you're taking APA courses. If you mentioned that your APA, I'm not sure now the mechanics of it, if it's like, if when you take APA courses, they consider you as yet pursuing a bachelor degree in STEM field, that you have to ask about it, because I'm not 100% sure. If it is, then there are a lot of internships that are available. Just make sure to pick the right, type of internship. If you're gonna, usually when you look for those, you write college intern scholarship. Internship. We're here talking about internships, and my brain is so tied to scholarships. So just make sure you write college intern, because they call them college intern. They are technical. They are not requiring you any set of specific technical tool set. It's just random. Like you go and support a technician, for example, mechanical, like tightening a torque or a bolt or something like that. So it's very broad and it's very random. So yes, definitely. All you have to do is feel free to reach out to me personally, so I can forward you some of the sources. All it requires is basically conduct a search on Google to locate some of those.
Okay. And one more question. What is your opinion on pursuing a degree, like bachelor's, master's, while at the same time doing some like technical skill, like like electrician, being like a car mechanic, or like just like any like skills that don't require like a rigorous like pathway, or like education. What is your opinion on that?
No, that's a very good question. You actually, it's very, very right to the point. If you're pursuing a technical degree, like you said, in STEM in general, let's say electrical, you're studying electrical engineering, you don't even have to go outside of the university. If you go to a big university, they have, what they call it, I'm having a blank in my memory. Usually universities, the idea here is that universities, they have the shops, they call it like sort of, whether it's in the form of a club where you are designing things and competing. Like let's say you want to be involved in mechanical activities or electrical. There are like those clubs in every single university. Some of them design cars, some of them design robots, things like that. I can't speak to other majors because of the area of discipline where I am, but definitely there should be that type of exposure in every single major, like where you don't have truly to seek outside of university. Sometimes, especially if you are like coming from high school, the first place to start is your university itself. And then if it's not available for you at the university, then seek outside. And you can find, you'd say, want to study mechanical engineering and you want to go work in a mechanic shop. I wouldn't recommend it, because in every single university that has mechanical engineering, they have the shops, or they call it the machine shop. They have it. They must have it. If they don't have it, then it's not a good place to be at, like for your major. So, and you can work as a part-timer. Like they can give you a wage to, because usually the people who are like, let's say in master or in senior, they are working on their capstone. You can be that little guy in the machine shop helping them to drill a metal piece or something like that. So you don't have to seek. I don't recommend you to seek outside, but definitely in yes for those side jobs, because I don't believe in just pursuing 100% the academic thing, the academic curriculum in general. Yep.
Okay, let's see. And last question. I know in the FAFSA, I just finished filling out look about like last week, thinking that it was submitted a month ago. But they have this option where it's like, do you want to like register for the work study program? Like, what is that more in detail? Like, what is it?
Work study.
Is it part of the name? Yeah, the work study program. Yeah.
Okay, so work study program, basically what it consists of is work study. You are a U.S. citizen. You're gonna at some point when you apply to college, apply for FAFSA. FAFSA, when you go to universities, whether it's state university or private university, usually workshop is not available for people choosing to go to a community college, because community college basically is not a lot of money to pay for the tuition. But for a state university and also a private university, when you apply for FAFSA, you get the grants, the federal grants. It's I don't have the name of them top of my head. Let's say you get the Pell grants, you get the loans, the sub and sub, and you also get what is called the work study. And a work study, basically, it's in a word. If you are in the DMV area, I think the most you can get is probably, not sure, but $6,000 per year in work study. That means what? That's me. FAFSA awards you a work study of $6,000, and it gives you a margin dedicated to grants and to loans. And it's up to you as a student to use that work study or not. I'll give you an example. I have my parents supporting my education, so I don't truly need that $6,000. But if I need it and I'm unable to find a job because I'm, a freshman and I don't know what to do, even everybody can find a job as a barista, but I don't know what to do. I can't find a job outside, and the university has to find you a job like they are required. You go to the work study office, which is usually whether part of the financial aid office or a separate room. You go to them and say, hey, I have $6,000 aware in work study. Can you find me a job? And the universities have connections. Sometimes they can put you at a Starbucks. Sometimes they can put you inside of the college, the gym college, just like handing the towels to the students or something like that. So work study is not that complicated. It's very simple. It's just based on your ability and your willing to work a part-time, but it is guaranteed. I can go and apply for a part-time job and I cannot get it, but I need the money to support my education, right? So it's the university that gets in line to get you that opportunity without truly having to look for it and applying and having that stress for applying.
Oh, okay. I really now I understand how it works. Okay, and I know this is like I said it previously, but last and final question. Like while pursuing like a educational pathway, right? Would having more languages on your roster, including like coding languages, be a beneficial thing or not? Like especially like for applying to like companies and stuff like that, they ask for like how many languages, is is that like, is it recommended to learn more, you know, for like the workforce or not?
Languages?
Yeah.
Well, if you're applying for, I know you're very interested in aerospace. You don't need languages in aerospace.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
but
okay.
you may, but yeah, many other majors need languages, but I've never had I try to find a way how to use my language proficiency in other languages, but
That is true. Okay, I just wanted to know that since I do not want to learn any additional ones. Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you for the whole meeting.
Thanks,
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Ayub. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, masalam.
Okay, anyone else have any question? We still have a few minutes left.
Okay, I would give a big shout out to Saeed Hamdani, who is actually providing more information. I'm not sure if the chat will be available to during the offline stream, but yeah, thanks. So he's giving more inputs.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome, Khadija. You did a good job.
Thanks.
Okay, anyone have any more question? Any question, guys? Give one more minute.
Well,
Okay.
if we don't have any more questions, thank you all for joining us today in this workshop, and thanks to MASA for their, continuing efforts to answer the questions of our students, Moroccan students, and to guide our community toward better academic orientation. Thank you all. And
Hey, Khadija.
yes.
Before you go, do you guys do workshops like kind of training and stuff? Like for example, like right now, I'm doing a lot of workshops every Friday from 5:30 to 7, basically, which we do hand-on experience on like cyber stuff or and generally IT and data analyst stuff. So
Yeah.
if anyone,
I think Yusuf, you can better speak to this. I think there was a workshop lately organized by MASA on IT,
Yes.
and a lot of Moroccans interested in it. Go ahead, Yusuf.
I'm so sorry. Can you say that again? I didn't catch your question. Please say it again.
also my question, I thought it was, sorry.
Okay.
So, do you guys involved in any workshops in IT field, like cyber, like programming, data analysts and stuff like that?
We did have a workshop about 3 weeks ago. Are we having more projects and workshops coming up? Yes.
Yes. So
yeah.
I would be happy to like provide some that I already worked on if you guys need somebody. So like for example, I just did one about zero trust model in a cloud environment.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was really good. Other one it was in cyber.
Mm-hmm.
So do a lot of in cyber like Red Hats and stuff. And I was involved in cyber competition with Raytheon. If you guys know Raytheon, I know a lot, especially in DC area.
Yep.
So I was in competition.
I did get your contact. I got a hold of your contact. I have it down, so I'll definitely reach out and we can touch base and work something together, inshallah.
Yeah, sure. Just let me know if you guys need anything. I can expand. I can help like as much as I can, because with help we move forward, you know. And it's good we can
Definitely
build like strong community and
stuff.
stuff.
I will definitely make sure I shoot you a text, inshallah, tonight.
Okay, inshallah, shukran.
Thanks, Saeed.
Okay.
Thank you for the invite.
Okay, those were great questions and great answers. So I guess we'll wrap it up now. Thank you again, Khadija, so much for the valuable information you presented. Thank you guys for attending this workshop. I hope you learned a lot from it, and you guys to be updated with any of the upcoming events. Please follow us in the our social media. I just sent it now in the chat box. And please don't hesitate to contact us. And yeah, enjoy your evening, guys, and stay safe. And thank you again.
Thank you all.